Yo, Flag on the Culture here. Another episode. Aaron, what's the word, man? What's the deal? How you doing tonight?
Man, another episode, man. We're gonna bless the people tonight, man. I'm doing well, man. How my boy Ness doing, man? How's
Man,
everything selling for my boy?
man, blessed out here in China right now. It's morning time. Um, we got a lot of things going on. Shout out to my wife. I'm on a new edition on our baby girl, born out here in China. It's a lot. I can't even go into that, but my wife, she is breaking down all this stuff as it happens. So if you guys want to know about this whole journey, make sure y'all check her out, find her on social media. But man, it's definitely a blessing, definitely an experience, and I can't wait to get into this show, bro. Can't wait.
Man, congratulations to you too as well, man. Congratulations to you and your family, man. Another addition, another blessing here into the world, man. I know you're gonna do your thing, man. I know you're proud as a father.
I appreciate it, appreciate it. Man, I think we got a great show tonight, man. It's just me and Aaron tonight. Definitely, you guys comment below. Tell us, based off these topics, what y'all think. But man, Aaron, let's start it off, bro. Let's start it off with a good one, man. Um, should your kids should your kids have sleepover in this day and age today? I know you don't have any kids, but what's your thoughts on it, man?
Um, I'm against like me being a parent, I'm against my kid going to someone else's house, family or not. You don't have to stay there. You can spend a lot of time there. You can play there, depending on how much free time there is available. If there is any free time, I mean, available time to play or things like that. Yeah, I'm not really too big on sleepovers and stuff like that. I really wasn't even a kid that was allowed to go to other people's house and have sleepovers. A lot of people was coming over our house. Um, Growing up, our house was the spot to be. So for me, I think that's what's allowed me to be a homebody as well. Now that I'm an adult, and I don't say a homebody meaning I'll stay stuck at home, but more so that's the first choice more than going out. So no, I'm not letting my kids go out. You got kids though, so it's a difference if it's a difference with somebody who got kids. So what's your perspective on that?
So let me share when I was younger. Because I don't understand. Sleepovers was big. And well, prior to me answering this, and you shared just a little bit of it, why do you think more people are against, or your mom was against you sleeping over at other people's house?
I never really even got into that, bro. I never really even like dove and asked why, bro. And then like I had two brothers, so like we was always, you know what I'm saying? We all near the same age where we just about, I would say, yeah, we're literally all near the same age. So taking us a lot, I mean, allowing us to go to somebody else's house is like, I mean, even us wanting to go to somebody else's house, like, why not just come over and add to what we already got over here? You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't necessarily for me like I would honestly say it's a spiritual thing, bro. I honestly think because we based on we're based on spirit. I mean, we're based on Christian religion. So I think it was more so on my mom being safe. She was a single mother, raising three boys, boys to men. So I think yeah, bro. I just think for a mother like that was protecting her sons, that wasn't the best decision for her at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like I would personally think that like if I was separated from my wife or my woman I had kids with, I don't think that I would trust. I don't think that I would trust her foundation enough to allow my kids to spend a night out somewhere. And not saying that I picked the wrong person or anything like that. It's just Like, how people think totally different when they're alone and by themselves. And a lot of women are emotionally empowered to do things just to make another person either upset or things like that. So for me, I just never experienced, like, I never even asked why, bro. Like, so for me, I never really asked why. So I never really understood the meaning of why not. But for me, like, as an adult now, um, I just wouldn't do it because like it's just too much to worry about. It's just too much to concern yourself with. You know what I'm saying? Like you giving up, like that's one of your most precious I think when I have kids, that would be one of the best things that would be one of my most precious accomplishments. Um yeah, I think that would be one of my most precious accomplishments. So I don't think that I would allow my kids to go spending the night at other people's houses and stuff like that. That's just me. But then coming from somebody who got what, four?
Yep.
Yeah, you might be totally different. You might be like, man, I got a brother that got five kids. So it's cool, but like what's your perspective on it, bro? Like what's your
So
number one, would you? Number one, would you? Like a straightforward answer, would you?
So my oldest daughter, she's 10 and she has spent the night. So the thing with this, right? I have to go back to me. I think my mom did a great job. Either most of the time, people spent the night at my house, or I would spend the night at someone else's house if my parents wasn't available. Like they had to go out of town or some event, and I couldn't be watched. I'm the youngest of four, and when I'm talking about the youngest, my brother is 10 years older than me, and everybody else is double digits, so they can't watch me. So therefore, there's no one else to watch me because of my parents and my siblings gap. So when I spend the night, my mom and I never understood it. If I did want to spend the night, she always had to talk to their parents to see what's going on, who's going to be there, this and that. And if my mom didn't feel a certain way, she's like, "You ain't spending the night," or they can spend the night over here. And I asked her these questions. I was like, "Why do you do this and everything like that?" She said, "I gotta make sure that you protected our nest." And I thank goodness for my mom having discernment, having understanding of people. And it's not necessarily the people that is watching you; it's the people that come around, other family members. I do know, it's horrific stories of family members, doing stuff to their own kids, hurting them and stuff like that. So, but at the same time, I don't think enough people do enough due diligence for their family or their friends to even have that conversation. Like I said, I have let my daughter spend a night at other places, rather it be friends or families, and I have that uncomfortable conversation with that family, whoever it is. My daughter is going over there because at the end of the day, like you said, this is my daughter, and whatever happens to her can be very traumatic. So I have to make sure that I'm protecting her and that she understands that I want to do what's in the best interest for her. Sometimes, I don't let those things because I don't know the person, nor do I know their family. But I think the reason why a lot of people they just want to avoid it altogether, and I completely understand. But now I also understand why certain things do happen because it's not really being aware of your surroundings or just trusting anybody. So I see both sides. I understand it, but at the same time, I think it's a little more part of the parent to make sure that they are asking questions, being very uncomfortable with that other individual because this is the safety of your child. And that's why I think a lot of parents just avoid it altogether because they don't want to have to deal with it. I'm not a very controversial person, but I will address something. I'm very transparent. I will address something um, if I have want to talk about it, or if it has something to do with my kids. So that's my thoughts about it. And I don't see anything wrong with it, but I also can understand where people are coming from and why they don't want to do it.
Yeah, I respect that. I respect that. Different perspective from somebody who doesn't have kids. Um, Kind of opened up my mind to certain things too. Like I actually think about it, man. Everybody really did come over. Um,
And then when people did come
my
over,
mom would talk to people's parents though. Like it
yeah,
wouldn't. Like I don't think those conversations were had. Now I don't know as a kid, but I just know like the plan of what the boys gonna do. Like what the boys doing? Oh,
yeah.
they just gonna be, you know what I'm saying? Oh, okay, can he come over? Yeah, you know what I'm saying, type deal. So it really wasn't necessarily like ground rules laid. It was more so like everybody who hung around us already trusted Keisha and the boys.
Mhm, mhm.
So that's
And,
really
and that's the thing, like my parents though too, because you have sleepover. I've been over some people's house sleepover. They parent was like popped in twice and that was it. It was like, bro, we had too much free time. My house, my mom or somebody coming in the room multiple times, like, hey, what y'all doing? Chilling. Hey, we gonna eat. We gonna do this. Then it's time for y'all to lay down. And of course, at some point in time, we stay up 2, 3 o'clock. We laughing, doing whatever we were doing during the sleepover. But you feel me? My mom, dad, they did a great job of checking in at least. So I think it's not. It doesn't make sense if you are having a sleepover and you're not popping in, because ultimately everybody's responsible. You're responsible for every child if you do have a sleepover as a parent. So you need to make sure nothing is happening. Um, like I said, I can see it. It's a lot of work. That's why I see a lot of parents. They're like, you know what, bump that. I'm not gonna worry about it. And it's just like you don't realize how much fun it is though when you have a sleepover with people or different people, and it's like it is fun for a child, but it's not for everybody.
man, I got a question off of that. What do you think like not necessarily off of that, but going into like another topic. What do you think about homeschooling kids and allowing your kids going to public schools? What do you think about homeschooling kids and allowing the system to raise your kids? Better yet.
Um, Well, the system is doing so homeschool would be the best route. The thing is, a lot of parents don't want to do it. They say they do. It's a lot of work. I have family members who do homeschooling. It requires a two-parent household. It's not necessarily requires, but you need some type of income coming in unless you have some type of business that can sustain you. Um, but it's a full-time job. Think there's anything wrong with the public system, but I don't think things that you can at homeschool. Like I have three of my nephews and nieces, and one of my nieces, she's all she has been homeschooled. Very smart, um, things of that sort. They're all smart, and now with them, it's a little different because of their social. They don't like to be out. But other than that, I met some homeschool kids. You would never even know they was homeschooled. But I think it's a positive thing because now there's no reinforcement of the world of negative things. I've seen a lot of kids in high school be good kids. Then they get around other kids in public school and they start banking, they start doing this and that. And it's just like they got negative influence. So I think homeschool is a preference. I think it is a lot of work. If you can do it, I think it'd be more beneficial for your kids. Uh, and then you create that ecosystem just like the public school. If you think um, I was before I left China. I mean, for China, I did homeschool PE. So I had school students who we created an ecosystem of them learning sports. At the same time, they also got to be around other kids. So there's ways to keep your kids engaged, and it's just so many options of learning and things of that sort. That's pretty amazing. That's a little different from regular school. What's your thoughts on that, bro?
From a person who like never really was homeschooled, bro, and is coming into this new world. Um, and truth be told, majority of the things that I have learned came from experiences in sports, experiences in life. And I technically don't even remember if I'm using high school still here in life. So I think that's the benefit of having homeschool. Um, you actually knowing what you're being taught and it actually sticking for a longer period of time. Um, and I'm not saying sticking for a longer period of time. I just uh I just think you get educated in different areas of life rather than being at school. You know what I'm saying? And this is just my personal opinion. I could be wrong. It's two left shoes, but I think the public school system, bro, is I have nothing against the public school system. I just know like it's a chain of command from the public school system. You know what I'm saying? Like they're told to teach this or teach that, or they're told to teach certain curriculum within schools or within certain school districts, um, and stuff like that. So for me, just like without doing the full research on that, that right there just allows me to know that there's misinformed information out there. You know what I'm saying? So that just allows me to say like if there's going to be any misinformed information, I want to have control of that with my kid. If that makes sense, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want my kid to be misinformed. Yes, he will, but then I want my kid to have a strong enough mind and a strong enough foundational understanding that how to lean on things and what to lean on. Because truth be told, man, a lot of these young kids coming up, um, they aren't going to the library. They aren't accessing the things that we used to access growing up. So I know homeschool gives you that. Like for me, if I was a homeschool parent, I would give my son that old school discipline that we kind of necessarily had, where after school we went to the library, did our homework at the library, read a book at the library, studied the book at the library, kind of um, just putting them in a not saying that you can't do that within a public system, but what are you taking home and learning? That's another thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? I also mentioned that prior, but that's just the biggest thing for me. It's just like you're allowing the world to raise your kids in a sense, which is not a problem for some who obviously, like you said, can't afford it or just don't have that educational backing to where they can. Um, but I think this is one of the biggest investments you make. So you set up your kids differently from how you're living. Um, if you ask me, and I don't think it only takes homeschool, I just think it takes uh, like you said, I do think it takes a powerful village, to a two-person household, to have a firm understanding that you may or may not be homeschooled. So I'm for homeschool, man.
Oh,
I'm
for
for
sure.
homeschool. I'm for homeschool. I like the public school system, um, but then again, like man, just put your kid in an environment where your field trips are now going to like different doctors' offices, different dental clinics, different businesses and things like that, to where now your kid is already like your social skills are far past not even someone who's going to the normal school, but the thought process just is totally different, man. Like I just personally feel like the thought process and being more creative is totally different for
For
kids that
sure.
homeschool versus the public school.
And it's not even it's flexibility. Like people like, oh, I work a job and I get off. People don't understand homeschooling, you can make it so flexible where there's people who actually only teach in the evening time.
Right.
So it gives you flexibility.
You go for
Um,
the whole day.
and then for the most part, most kids are done with learning because you don't need, if we be honest, you only can learn so much in a day. So this is why I always hated school. I was like, why do we need to be here all day? I don't remember nothing from high school, middle school. I don't remember nothing. I don't use any of those things. So I don't. I thought school was always pointless. Most of my learning has been after college, and I'm talking about that I actually went after and got more information about it. And most of the information that we got was lies, anyways, especially history and stuff like that. So I think we learned too much information and not applied information, applied knowledge. Like, why are we learning about some theories when we can actually just go down to a business and learn business? We're learning stuff that people are not applying in their own life just because they're a math teacher.
Yeah, like
Um,
a what if type of life. Like it's like an imaginary life you can live.
Yeah, so I'm not even gonna go into a whole how I feel about the school district, but yeah, man, it's a definitely a different thought process, and I think I will say this though. I will say this. Now, this is I might get some flack. Y'all let me know in the comments, but honestly, this is real talk. I believe that school is used as a tool. So let's say for people who have kids, right, and they don't want parents don't want to share um, time with their kids, like, oh, he got to go to school. It's like, well, we can homeschool the child. Oh, I'm not doing that. Wait, you don't want to do it, or because you don't want me to spend kids time with my child or that child because you don't like me because of how the situation worked out. I know a lot of parents who,
Circumstantial.
you feel me? They kids. Oh no, my kid gotta go to school. This and that. Like, well, this would work out for us as far as us seeing. Oh, that don't matter. So, are you using school now as a weapon, or does it matter about the child? Like, which one is it? So that's a topic for another time. But yeah, people, his parents out here using school as a weapon against each other, and it's nasty work. But yeah, man.
We can stay right there, man. We can stay right there. I know it's kind of we can stay right there, man. What do you think about parents holding their own kids back? Like, what do you think about parents who limit their kids? And I can give you like a small example.
Yeah, well, like one in one sense.
Yeah, so I could let me give you an example. So when somebody comes and presents an opportunity to you for your children, just because you don't think this person is credible enough, you don't sign this kid up, but then the kid ends up failing and you wanted the kid to succeed. Um, and you know deep down in your heart that the kid failed because the parent didn't take advantage of the resources that were sent to them. And the parent thought that the parent couldn't take their ego out of it because they think they knew the process. Like, how do you deal with parents like that? Like, how do you take those type of parents that, like, let's say for instance, like for me, I'm not signing my kid up for training. I don't care what sport he play. Um, Now if he played a sport that had to do nothing with a ball, I gotta sign I gotta invest in him and things like that. But anything that has to do with a ball, football, basketball, and even golf, um, I got it. Because
Hmm.
the biggest thing for me is mentality. So I don't think anybody can set the standard for my child like I could set the standard for my child. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So like, man, like how do you like what's a message to these parents that are trying to live through their kids that have these egos? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that are like what's your message to these parents that are kind of having circumstantial issues like that?
I don't think it's any message. I think they're gonna figure it out for themselves, and it's gonna be very unfortunate. Some things for some people they got to go through it and learn, and it's very sad that it's at the expense of your child, because I think it's ego. I think that is one case, right? Like, oh, I know what I'm doing, this and that. But I also think it's a lack of understanding or information. A lot of people are holding their kids back off old information. Oh, this is what I did, or they never did it. Therefore, how are you going to make a decision in the best way, especially when you're not getting informed about it? You've never been through it. You don't have anyone to go to a reference points, get counsel on the issue. So if you believe this is the best case for you, hey, you're the parent, you're ultimately making a decision for them. You'll figure it out at the end of the day. If it don't work, it's on your hands. It's not necessarily on the other person. So I don't think it's anything you can say or do to a parent. I don't think there's a message. I would just, hey, you wanted to learn that way, that's fine. Unfortunately.
Straight out. Straight out.
Unfortunately. Yep. So, bro, I got a topic for you, bro. Do you think you should roommate with your friends? And we talking about like straight on, like, hey man, we signed a lease, excited. Do you think you should roommate with your friends, bro? What you think about that?
So I'm gonna tell you from an experience standpoint, no. Why do I say no? Um, yeah, I say no, bro. I had a friend who I thought I was close with for as long as I got up in St. George, man. And um I don't think so, man. I had a friend who I thought I was close to and thought I was possibly able to go into business with. Um and we ended up moving in with each other. Or I ended up moving in with him. Um and I don't think it was the best. For me, I know myself. You know what I'm saying? I know myself, so I know I'm good. I know I don't have a problem. Like I know how I live. Um, I think I know how to live. You know what I'm saying? But you never really notice how jealous people are until you actually get around them like that, to where you're around them on a day to day basis, and you're doing things that they maybe want to do, or they're not as far as they want to be in life, and the things that you doing are frustrating them. So they're asking questions on your day to day life, and now you questioning things like, why would you ask me like that? Um, or it could be nights where y'all live with each other, so y'all go have a good time, and maybe come back, and whatever one do, if you drink, whatever you do, if you might have a little too much here, you might have a little too much of something there. um and problems could be brought back home. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of things, bro, that I personally would say no to. And I think you I mean, I'm personally at yeah, I wouldn't do that, bro. Like, just straight out, like, yeah, it's crazy that I'm answering this question, because I just got to kind of answer in my head, like, yeah, it's kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm out of the situation, but just, you know, man, that's a no for me, bro. That's a no for me. That's a no for me. That's a no for me. That's a
I
no for me.
I'm in agreement with you, man. I
Yeah.
think I think friendships are messed up because they moved in. Moving, I never had it. I did have a friend, and I'm talking about like we boys, and my thoughts like, man, yeah, he mentioned. It. I was like, yeah, bro, well, let's go ahead. And somebody brought it to my attention, and they was like, Ernest, you know, I'm not stopping you, but ask your question. You've been over to his house and everything. Do you think you can live with him and cleanliness and this and that? And especially living with different people in college, you don't think in account like, man, like
We
people
raised different.
people are not raised the same. They're not raised the same, which is fine, which is cool. The thing is, can you put up with that though? And then at the same time, everybody got some bad habits. Everybody, including myself, including you. So everybody got bad habits. You won't know, like you said, until you're around them a little bit more. So you know, I have seen a lot of friendships be tested because of these things going on. And then my boys, they got horror stories if they did move in with a friend. So I don't think you should do it just to avoid all that. your friendship at the end of the day. I don't think it should happen. Um, yeah, man. I think just
But
hey,
then again, just being honest with you, like if you was, I would tell you like this. For some people listening, um, if you're in a situation where you need to do it for a certain amount of time, that's perfectly fine. You know what I'm saying? Because you're staying with a person. Let's say you sign a 6 month lease with a person after maybe going through a marriage or going through a divorce. You know what I'm saying? Or you went through a relationship you were in, and you kind of bounce back, and you kind of need that setup structure where you kind of have that financial help or that financial assistance to where all you need is 6 months. Then it's a different scenario, you know what I'm saying? But still, at the end of the day, you still get to know a person and things like that. But I just personally feel like if you're in a situation where you got a structure laid out and you got it like you got the foundation so good, you stepping on it and standing on it every day. Oh man, look, Ness, I just need to be there for 6 months, man. I'll sign a 6 months contract. I'll sign a 6 month lease, man, and I'm up out of there, man. And anything after that, like I have to assess as a man, or we have to assess as adults. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I just think if it's a person in a situation and they're stuck in a situation, and if they stuck in a relationship situation, if you're stuck in a situation that you can't get out of, and the only way to get out of it is moving with your friend.
well, that's a different scenario because you had help. We talking about like y'all choose to live with each other. You feel me? That's something totally different. Like you like, hey, I need to get out of this spot. Can I stay with you? This and
Yeah,
that.
that's the only time I'm saying yeah. I'm saying
Yeah,
yeah, desperate measures.
yeah.
I'm
But
saying yeah,
we
under desperate
yeah
measures.
we talking about because we you got these college
You
kids.
talking
They
about
about
like,
to
hey,
these
yeah,
college kids about to room. You got friends who just getting out of college. Like, hey, bro, let's get an apartment together. We gonna be it's gonna be lit. We gonna have it jumping this and that, blah blah. And it don't turn out
hey,
like
I
that.
tell you what, if we buy the spot, I'll do that.
It don't be turning out like that all the time, man. So yeah, I'm not saying it don't work. I'm just saying like,
I'm not staying there. I'm saying my answer is firm no. I'm still standing
yeah,
on no, but I'm just saying for the people who
I
like
ain't doing that.
that's the only reason why I would say yes. Like if I was in desperate measures, if it was a desperate measure situation, yes. But worst come to worst, bro, I go back and live with my mom before I even choose to pick with a friend. Before you feel me? Like man,
So
yeah.
let's talk about this, bro, real quick, because and I just let's keep it short. Um, why do you think people who do, whether it's some relationship or whatever it was, let's say they go to college, right, and it's time for them to go home. I know every situation is different. Why do you think people don't want to go live back at home after something doesn't work out or something's over, it's a new chapter in their life?
Well, look, number one for me, I've started a new chapter. So to answer your question in different phases, like number one, I started a new chapter in my life and I jumped into adulthood. So now I feel like a burden if I'm living with moms or I'm living with dads, depending on circumstantial of the just depending on circumstances and stuff like that. Um I don't have like for me, I didn't have time to figure it out. I mean, I didn't have time to go back, sit down, and now it is some people who have that, and I open up that door for my kids when I do have kids. That's one thing that is so important. That's one thing that I feel like is the most important for your child's future. After they developed into this adult, I think allowing them to come back to see how much they've grown and to kind of push themselves out of that space is needed because you being away, you set up a structure, you become an adult, you become bro, you coming home at whatever time you want. You're like your daily habits are no longer your habits anymore that you used to have living with somebody. So now you still got to get now your mom got to get used to or moms or dad whoever whatever the circumstance is got to get used to another adult living with them. So I just feel like bro after you've after you've gotten to like after you've graduated college, no, I don't think it's a problem to take a gap year, living with parents or anything like that to figure it out. What you want to do with that degree, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's a problem with that. Um, but then again, like I just feel like, man, like who wants to go back after setting up an adulthood structure? You know what I'm saying? Like, and now allowing, like, put yourselves in their shoes. Like, if you left, would you want you to come back? You get what I'm saying? Like, would you want you to come back in a situation I'm looking at it in a situation like you went, you accomplished what you needed to accomplish. Um, you grew up, and I feel like it's your time to experience the world now. So you going back to the nest, no, it's not a problem, but I think, man, I think it has its pros and cons. You know what I'm saying? I think there are pros and cons. I think the pros are like it's good if you got that gap year, you got that degree, you go back and you setting yourself up and you looking for different jobs. If you went to school out of state, if you went to school in state and you go back to this like and you go back home within the same like I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to judge nobody, bro. I don't want to judge nobody and say a decision was wrong, or I don't want to judge your financial, like how you grew up or how people grow up and things like that. But I just feel like if I was in California and I went to college in California, top college in California, as expensive as it is, I totally understand. But as a man, I wouldn't want to go back home. That's just me. I've started something. I've jumped into adulthood, and I don't think it's a problem. I just think personally that I've moved to a different chapter in my life.
Man, I can completely understand it, and I think that's why it's a little different in other people's communities. Like people are free to come home, and they're free to live as long as they doing something productive and they figure it out. Because it's most of the time the reason why you go back home because it has to do with finances. Most people, if they had an opportunity, they wouldn't go home because financially they're able to sustain themselves. But now I feel like when you do go out on your own, which is perfectly fine, you got to figure it out. You also compromise or you go through things that you wouldn't necessarily have to go through because you put yourself in a situation. But if you had somewhere to lay safely, if you had somewhere to, you had time, you wouldn't have to put yourself in these positions. Well, now you're doing things that you necessarily wouldn't want to do, whether that's making money or living with somebody in particular. I don't think there's an issue with it, but the thought process of, hey, I don't want to live with my parents or whatnot, or my parents wouldn't accept me. The culture overall thinking, I don't think it's right because in the old days, you didn't move out until you got married because now you got support with another person. And I feel like there's a lot of people who
Neglected that.
grown women and men who have been through certain things in their life because they want to grow up, they want to be out, and now life has turned out for the worse because they wanted to do everything on their own. So I definitely understand the perspective, but other cultures they're not kicking their kids out, nor are the parents not saying, "Hey, you're not welcome either." And then some people, I do understand they don't have the room, right? I do understand that, but I just always wanted to ask that question, for different people. I know to give a different perspective as well.
Man, I got a question too though. So like say for instance when you do move out and your parents downsize the house.
Well, you can't go. That's what I'm saying. I understand that. But let's say if they downgrade and they say, well, you're gonna be sleeping on the couch, you're not gonna have your own room. Is that better than having a rent that you don't have? Because where you gonna sleep at anyways? You gonna sleep on somebody else's couch?
Bro, as expensive as it is in California, couches cost.
It don't matter where you at though. It don't matter if you go to. It don't matter if your family live in Iowa and you go back home. You gonna have to stay somewhere.
Yeah.
Regardless if you pay for it or not, you gonna have to stay somewhere. Would you rather stay at your parents where you know they're like, hey, we gotta come up with a plan, or hey, you can stay here, but you gonna have to pay something soon, and figure it out, or you gonna be out on the street. That's a lot of stress now. That's a lot of stress. Somebody say you got 2 weeks to figure it out. Your some parents at least will show you some grace. At least, not all, not all, but hey, shout out to the parents, man, who they understand life is hard, life is expensive now, more expensive than it is when they were growing up, and being that foundation for their kids. Definitely, it takes a village, and not everybody can do it on their own.
Now I got a question. So you we I know how big on faith you are, man, and I know how I do my best to work on my faith because I see how like powerful you are with yours, um, and how your relationship with God is. Um, a man that doesn't recreate. Let me get your basis on that.
He doesn't recreate.
It's 8 o'clock. A man that doesn't recreate. So pretty much a man that has no kids, and it's not a medical issue why he doesn't have kids. He just hasn't produced maybe with that woman or found that lady yet. What is, even though the Bible says that, what's the perspective from a guy that grows old and dies with no kids? Is that a sin?
No, not a sin at all. You can't reproduce. It's people like that.
It's
But
not that you can't, it's just you didn't. So
it's the thing. It's the thing of though. But everybody's it's their own decision at the end of the day. If you don't want any kids, now if you married and you don't have any kids, hey, that's very unfortunate. Because children are a blessing, but there's some people they like, I don't want any kids. Hey, that's their lifestyle. Now, if you out single and you try to have kids, I think that's the wrong way to go about it. But once again, that's just what I believe.
what's another word for that? What you mean by if you out single and trying to have kids? What you trying to say?
Um, you are messing up a foundation. So you are creating broken homes because you have no will to be with the mother. So if you just having kids, if you just trying to have kids with individuals, and you don't plan on this, how broken families are started. That's why you should marry. If you're gonna do that, if you want to do these things. If you don't, so be it. But I don't think it's an issue if someone doesn't have kids. Everybody, it's their life. They can decide what they want to do. But if you're trying to go about it and you're having multiple women and you're trying to have kids, I mean, to do this and it doesn't work out, yeah, yeah, you're gonna have a lot of spiritual things on you. So definitely watch out for that. Definitely watch out. But I don't think it's an issue, nor is it a sin. The sin is, of course, you sleeping around. That's the only sin. That's it. That is it. So, bro, I got this video, man. I wanna discuss it and talk about it. So let me bring this up.
Antonio Brown files Chapter 11 and the internet turns him into a damn meme. United Airlines files Chapter 11 and Wall Street calls it restructuring. Same law, different lens. In our community, bankruptcy is treated like failure. But in business, it's a strategy. It's how billion-dollar corporations reset the board, shed debt, and protect their assets while they regroup. The problem is, we weren't taught to see it that way, were we? We see bankruptcy as the end of the story instead of a chapter in the playbook. So when somebody in the culture files, they're broke. When a Fortune 500 files, it's smart. Now let's be real. For Antonio Brown, some of this may be about mismanagement, but the bigger point is this. Tools don't change based on who's holding them. The law doesn't say Chapter 11 only works for CEOs in suits. It says if you know how to use it, it can buy you time, protection, and leverage. So here's the shift. We have to stop thinking bankruptcy is an obituary. It's a mechanism, a lever, a legal reset button that the wealthiest people and corporations use without shame. But to use it right, you need structure, LLCs that separate the assets, operating agreements that define liability, advisors who know how to restructure instead of just react, and a mindset that says survival isn't shameful. Survival is the strategy itself. Because wealth isn't about never failing. It's about knowing how to reset when you do. So the next time you see chapter 11 in a headline, don't just laugh at it. Ask yourself, how would I use the same tool if it was me? Because the wealthy don't see bankruptcy as the end. They see it as the insurance policy that keeps their empire alive. And if we want to play at that high level, we need to stop treating survival strategies like they're failures.
Man, I think this is a powerful tool. Video. I think it's great that Jay Williams shared this, man. I actually know yeah, of course, went to Duke. I'm actually know a family member who did file for bankruptcy, and I remember family was talking about it like in a negative way. Truly didn't understand it when I was younger, but now that I'm older, I understand like this is actually a resource that buys you a lot of time. And I also think it's very important to share this because we have kids who are making money in NIL. They are businesses, right? They need to understand rather if they manage their money correctly, that there are certain things that they can do when things aren't working out for them and they're in the best for them financially. What is your thoughts though about this video?
Dude, number one, shout out to Jay Will, man. Throwing a flag on the culture, or really giving the culture some flags, giving the culture some gems. You know what I'm saying? Helping the culture out, bro. Bro, I always used to trip out when I used to hear famous people went bankrupt, but then like they still have everything that they had. Like I used to be like, oh, but to me, I being around a few people, they said like I think they do that to allow people to stay away from their taxes. Um, and that's my personal opinion. That's something that I heard when I was younger. Like, oh, they do that so the rich people could stay away from their taxes or something like that, or something to that dynamic. And I never really went back and did the full research on it, but now watching the video, it's like, man, bro, like he's saying some things on there. He's saying some things on there that I wish I knew. He's saying some things on there. He's educating me for the first time of hearing some things on bankruptcy, how to use it, how to leverage it. Um, Man, that's an incredible video right there, bro. I definitely want to look more into having an insight on when to go bankrupt, when is it the right time, um, why do you do it in your business, um, when do you do it in your business for that matter. Those are the type of questions that I have. You know what I'm saying? So like stuff like that is like the stuff that I that lingers me on. I want to keep that conversation going with him and ask him little small stuff like that. Like when is it okay to file for bankruptcy? Um, when do these Fortune 5 companies file for bankruptcy to restart over the plan? And when they restart the plan, do they go with the same strategy, or do they add in the strategy to enhance it for the next time? Because they may not have even lost money. They just doing it, like he said, for a reset or a restart. So I feel like I just like those are some of the questions that I have, with having that understanding from just watching the video briefly.
Hmm. Yeah, and this is what we got to do a better job of. First of all, educating ourselves. I remember 50 Cent filed for bankruptcy a while ago, and one of my relatives was like, "Man, you believe 50?" I was like, "Bro, 50 still got money, bro. Don't believe none of that." This is before power and everything. I'm like, "Don't believe none of that." I'm like, "It's a reason why he's doing this," and we just assume automatically like, "Oh, they broke this and that." You're protecting your assets. That's what you're doing, and nobody can take it from you. You don't have to pay any debts. Just imagine you $1 million in debts, and you're like, I'm filing for bankruptcy. The debt go away. They not taking no assets, nothing that you own away from you. And like I said, people just need to do a better job. Our culture needs to do a better job of understanding and doing research rather than judging and speaking on matters that they don't know. Um, and play the game, man. I've shared this, football players, and this is not even just football players. The best people in this, I mean, the most people get the best out of this financial game, right, is entrepreneurs, business owners. The worst thing you can do in this world is be an employee. You don't have benefits. You can't write stuff off. I'm not saying you can't do both. You should be able to do both. If you're an employer, if you work for a business, also own a business too as well. So now you can write off your rent. You can write off internet. You can write these things off and you pay less than paying a full price. This is what business owners, entrepreneur, this is what this game is about. But if you don't educate yourself, if you don't get around other professionals who, like you said, Aaron, you have questions, these people have these answers. But you got to get around them. All you have to do is reach out to them. They'll share the information. You can have a consultation. You can pay $70 probably to have a consultation. It might be free sometimes, but people don't want the education. People don't care. They only want to hear about certain things and then speak on it and don't even know the truth. So we need to do a better job. I think this is Jay's doing a great job of informing and educating people and starting that conversation. Definitely think.
Yeah, he tore that one up, man.
Yeah. Bro, so let's get to football, bro. Do you think it matters if coaches change during the season? It really matters if, if a coach gets fired and somebody brings in a new coach. Do you think that really matters?
It just depends on what type of program and foundation that coach laid. Um, just being honest with you, because everybody's itching to be a head coach. So the question is, for me, it's a biased question because it's like some kids wanted another. Some kids don't have the power to put another coach in position. Some head coaches aren't in the right position. Some head coaches are position coaches. Some position coaches could be head coaches. So, man, for me, it's like I don't think it necessarily matters. Like, as a player, I'm gonna just put myself in that situation. I'm gonna continue to play the same. A head coach, you hire an offensive coordinator, you hire a defensive coordinator. Um, you oversee things as a head coach. You saying a coaching change or a head coaching change?
It don't matter because the coaching change can be position coach as well.
A position coach's change, yeah. Like if it's a head coaching change, like my bad, and that's me being ignorant thinking about UCLA.
No, it can be both. It can be both though.
Yeah, I know, but it's different. Like if it's a head coach at UCLA, I mean, if it's a head coach like UCLA, so what? Now somebody else step up and run the ship. You feel me? Because I think he just got there. So the foundation that he wanted to set up, the buy-in, I don't think the buy-in is a full 100%. I think with a position coach, bro, the buy-in is 100%. So now players play different. You get what I'm saying? Like if my DB coach leave in the middle of the year, I'm gonna do everything I can to keep what he got going. But if they hire another one, I have to mid-year change up my technique for me to stay on the field if this coach allows me. I mean, if he comes in changing up our technique. Now, I hope that he would come in and say, just do your thing and we'll fix it all up next year. But a position coach, I think, is more detrimental than a head coach. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. I think a position coach is way more like this is a guy I built a relationship with. This might be the first coach I talked to from this university. You get what I'm saying? This was God's vessel that got me here to this university. He sent this man to this school or this lady to this school to acknowledge me to get me here to this school. So it's different circumstances, bro. Like I think with a position coach, it's more close to your heart. I think with a head coach, it's more like somebody else could step up and be a head coach. It's just what type of energy did that head coach bring? Did he like when he's not in the room? Is his energy still felt? is he one of those coaches that like I don't know, I don't know, bro. So for a head coach, I think that's don't matter to me. I don't care. You can get up out of here. But for a position coach, yeah, bro, that's a little difficult, bro. That's a little difficult transition for a young man to make mid-season. You know what I'm saying? And that's in my personal opinion. Like that would be, yeah, that's in my personal opinion. I can't even say I've experienced that, but what's your opinion on that? What you think, man? Like, what do you think? What you think about that?
So, this is thinking about UCLA, Oklahoma State has fired their head coaches. Like I said, I don't think head coaches matter. Like, people gotta understand, each year you develop new habits. It don't matter if you bring somebody else in, you gonna continue those habits that you set for that year. Like you can't stop something, you can't start something, stop it, and then like, oh, I'm gonna create some new habits. Habits at least take some time to develop, whether it's good habits or bad habits. So if you don't have these bad habits, it's not nothing's gonna change from there. Now, UCLA just upset at Penn State, right? Uh, New coaching staff as far as interim head coach, new offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator left as well. They won a game. Now, I'm a UCLA fan, stuff like that.
That looks bad.
The only thing I saw that was different was how the kids played. It had nothing. I felt like yeah, scheme wise it was better, but I felt like the kids was flying around. Like the
Man, they
kids
was
was
having
playing.
fun, bro. You
You
talking
feel
about
me?
UCLA?
Yeah, so
Yo,
that's why this is a head coach, it don't really matter. Where I think it does matter is who's calling the plays though. The offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator, that can be because if you wasn't utilizing your weapons to the best of their ability, and now you do that, I feel like it's a big change. I think it's bigger than any position coach because a position coach, and I've never lost a coach or nothing like that, but a position coach, for the most part, even if they fire him and it's a new person come in, they're not going to change too much because they're like, shoot, there's nothing too much we can change. You're already doing this technique. We got to finish it for the rest of the year. They'd be stupid if they try to like, oh, we're going to implement a whole new technique. Can't really do that in the middle of the year. A defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, look, we teaching the same thing. We're just gonna put y'all in these spaces. I feel like that's more important, and I think that really matters more so than a head coach. So ultimately, I think a head coach no, but I think your defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, I think that's the biggest change, and your position coach can play some type of matter as far as you talking about relationship wise. But yeah, man, I think head coaches it doesn't matter. I agree with you. I definitely
yeah, I
agree.
think ultimately in this situation, for this particular situation, it shows how much control the chain of command has when the kids play like that, bro. Like that's just my personal opinion. Like I think there was a lot of control because it was a first year position. Um, it was something that you wanted to hold close to your heart. But the thing that you want to hold close to your heart is the quickest thing that could leave you with you not allowing somebody to be themselves. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like um, the kids playing more free. That's more like, bro, it was obvious, bro. That's like, I don't know which coach left to make them kids play like that, but it was definitely a need. It was definitely a need through the spirit realm to do some type of firing and hiring and removal. Um, Now, sadly, that the people who don't aren't involved in sports, they don't really understand how hard it is for a head coach. They really don't understand how hard it is for a head coach. Um, Now, at certain levels, like for instance, people are saying, how could UCLA head coach get fired but not Bill Belichick? Well, I'm asking the same question, but we don't know the relationships that he's built over there.
But why
We
would
don't.
Bill get fired?
Has he won?
This is his first year.
Is Deshaun Foster first year?
This is his second year.
I thought Deshaun Foster. Okay, I'm wrong then. I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. So yeah, you need to turn it up a notch. You should be out of there. So then that doesn't even make my point valid then. Yeah, like
It was his first full year. But yeah, this was his second year. But and I don't even want to stay on UCLA, but it was the way how they were losing. Like that was the thing about it more so than anything. I said I've been to the
it didn't
game.
seem like they had no fight. It seemed like they had no fight.
I went to the game before they left. Things just didn't feel right. And I met him. I think he's a great dude, great coach. I think it's unfortunate they didn't give him enough time, though, still. But, I don't think, and then, talking about Bill, because there was a situation I heard with him. I don't think, you feel me, we give these guys enough time, these coaches time. Now, each position, hey, whatever you decide to do, so be it. But Bill Belichick, he only played 4 games. Those games that they lost, they got blown out. This is his first year. So what? Why are you gonna fire him? Why would that conversation even come up? Now, if you're talking about year 2, ain't he doing this? Year 3, for sure. For sure. But he just got there, trying to do his imprint, trying to figure out college football. He's a 70-year-old man, new to college football. This college football, we're not talking about old school college football. Let him figure it out. So
Yeah, that was an ignorant statement that I made with saying thinking that Deshaun Foster was just as new as um, Bill Belichick. So for me, it would have got political at that point. But I'm glad we. I'm
nah,
glad
man.
we
Anything else, bro?
um. Yeah, man. I got a question, man. I got not. I got another topic. So being I got a topic on like life. Um. So, bro, I got a question for you. Um, and it's like going to faith. This is a question for me. This is like conversations that have came up um in the past week or so. So when a spirit is let in from a different person, and it could be any type of spirit. It could be how we started off, you saying you just sleeping around with people, you putting yourself around negativity, you doing things like that. How do you release that spirit? How do you release those spirits? Um, yeah, how do you release those spirits that you've allowed in? And do they have to be let out the same way that they were? Do they have to be let out? Let me give you a better example. So, um, I was speaking to this lady, and she said there was a spirit that was brought in this family, but it was brought in through a male, and it could only be taken out by a male. So, from a spiritual basis standpoint, and not even get too deep or nothing like that, but you kind of catch what I'm saying. Like, how do you, with you putting yourself in places, how do you repent in those type of situations? Like, do you have to go back? Do you have to, or are you just asking for forgiveness? Like, just helping some people out who may be in this situation where they don't understand. And because somebody asked me this, and I just was like, oh, bro, I got to get stronger on my faith to give you an answer.
See, I don't know. I couldn't tell you the answer because I'm not gonna go off of my opinion. My opinions doesn't matter. That's all what's in the word, and there's nothing saying that how something happened that you have to you know go back to, or a person took it out. It never says that. It just says repent. Now there is some things that you will experience in life because of these things, though. The best is not to do it. That's why God said, "If you love me, keep my command." You know, you gotta think of it like this, and you understand. I tell people, you understand more about God once you become a parent, because when you are talking to your child and you tell them, for instance, don't touch an outlet, you just say no, don't touch. If they might ask like, why not? You know what's going to happen to them, but they want to keep trying it. That's how God is. He just tells you don't do it. Now, if you keep messing with that outlet, God will let you mess with it. He ain't gonna stop you. And if you get shocked, you're gonna figure out now you know why. God, though, he doesn't go into detail sometimes of what's gonna happen to you, what's the after effects of it. But you're gonna realize as soon as it happens, like, man, once I did that, everything else I start to experience these things. So the best way is not to get involved in whatever it is, because the spirit or whatever is on you is not just going to go away just because there's a cause and effect of everything. Things are you sow and you reap things, right? And there's seasons to it. So if you do something, it may not come around that season. The next season, you might sow it though. So this is what people understand. It's better not to get involved in certain things. It's better not to follow directions rather than be hard headed and bump your head against the wall a couple of times.
Yeah, I needed that. Now I know I can give a little something back as well as apply some of that to myself.
Yeah, man. Yeah, bro. But man, y'all in the comments, man, definitely let us know what y'all thought. What you want to hear. Bro, it was a good show. I think it was some great topics that we talked about, man. I think it's
Oh
awesome.
yeah.
I think it's
Yeah,
awesome.
we got some special guests coming up, y'all.
Definitely, for sure do. For sure do, bro. For sure do. Well, Aaron, bro, you have a good night, bro. Getting this day started out here in China. Until next time, it's love.
It's all love, brother. Have a good one, man. God bless. Flag on the culture, man. Let us know what y'all want to hear, topics y'all want us to talk about, man. God bless y'all. Have a good night.
Have a good night.